Welcome to the Nomad Studio Livestream. I'll be working on a Valentine's Day special. I'll be sculpting Usagi today. Usagi is so cute. You see what I got from Japan. Yes! I like all three of them. But I got this one from a rest stop somewhere. I was like so lucky to like spot this in the corner of the rest stop because I couldn't find this anywhere else in Japan afterwards. So yeah, it's a bit dark, but yeah, it's so cute. Anyway, if you're new to my channel, I usually do sculpting stuff. I've been trying to get into painting, and I use Nomad Sculpt for my 3D sculpting works. So this is what I'll be using today, Nomad Sculpt on iPad, and I'll be working on an Usagi sculpt from scratch, so you can follow along if you want to. Because sculpting Chiikawa is so fun. I'm a bit nuts because I just came back from the bouldering gym and I'm so tired. And like if you join into my previous live streams, you'll know that I'm trying to exercise every day, and every time I'm progressing my fitness, there's always like a new injury that comes along. This time around it's meniscus, and it's just so tiring to try and rehab things. But I did my leg extensions, I did my hamstring curls, so feeling better, but just feeling so tired. But tomorrow is the weekend, and it's already 1 AM here. It's already Valentine's Day, so I'm like, why not just get this off the way? I hope that I can finish this in time before I go to sleep. Maybe I just wouldn't sleep tonight. I don't know. I hope that I will get this done pretty fast. I hope. Oh yeah, I have Hachiware Chiikawa, so it's time to have Usagi in my collection. I think in terms of the overall setup, I forgot to. I wonder if there's a way to give me a sec. When it comes to the whole setup, I have a tutorial. Where did I put it? I'm trying to find the thumbnail picture. Where is it? Can I just drag and drop? Yeah. Oops. Anyway, this is it appearing on the screen? I'm not sure, but I have a tutorial on how to create this lighting effect, and I did make a little bit of changes to fit kind of like the Valentine's Day mood. It's like a little bit more pink and all that, and that's because I'm using an image that has a little bit of a pink shade. I think previously in the tutorial it was something like this, and then okay, let me hide this now. How do I hide this? So I have, following the previous the tutorial that I uploaded to create this lighting look, I was using the Studio Small environment image, I think, and then I changed it to something that has like a pinkish glow. So just like find an image that has like pink or like some reddish tones inside, and you'll be good to go. Other than that, I think I reduced the ambient occlusion, so you can kind of just like copy this ambient occlusion thing, and Did I change it? Oh, and then I changed the tone mapping to neutral because I guess I just feel like having something a little bit brighter today. And yeah, it's time to sculpt. Where's the grid? I have I'm not certain that it will turn out well because I haven't sculpted Usagi, but I have some reference. So I have some reference here. I'm going to use it to hopefully get Usagi's quality. But I'll go back to the world origin because that's most likely where you'll be working on. So I'm going to add a quad spear. Something like this. I'm also working with the real-time lighting. So in the lit PBR mode, under the shading tab, I'm working in the lit PBR mode. And I'm aware that that is something that I can do because my iPad has quite a bit of RAM to be able to do this without heating up. So just do whatever you can. If you can't work in this format, then just work in the default matcap format. That's good too. And probably change this to like a I don't know, like a pink one. Something like this. Let me just change it back. So I'm making the head, and wait a minute, this is not the front. I'll be making use of the front view like this, and I'm gonna try to keep everything symmetrical here. And this, like, I do try to make everything sound reasonable, but then I hope that I can make it easy to follow. But I have no guarantees because, like, as any other live streams, there is no prep, and I haven't made this before. So if we mess up, we're gonna mess up together. So I'm gonna make this like a rounder shape. It doesn't really matter. Man, I'm so tired. I worked out my legs and my shoulders so hard. So I want to change it to local symmetry because yeah, sure, I don't really like working in the world origin right now. I kind of want to work with them, but I'm just going to, and also I want to probably add more lights. Okay, let me just hide. Should I hide? No, I think I'll just extend this so that's a bit easier to see. Maybe. Let me hide this too. I thought they are a little bit to make it a bit difficult to move around. You know what? I'm going to I'm just gonna hide everything first because it makes it a lot easier to rotate around this way. So I use the local symmetry, and then I will create the body by bringing this down. Wait, by cloning it, and then bring it down and scaling it down. I think it should be around like this. And then just going to squeeze it down then again. And it doesn't really have to be that exact yet. So I'm gonna clone. Wait, no, I should create the mirror now because now I want to make the limbs and the ears. So we need a mirror repeater for that. I'm going to add a mirror repeater, and I like to create new things based on existing gizmo positions like this. So I will add, and using the gizmo tool, with the gizmo tool selected, I'm going to add a new mirror repeater. So now the mirror repeater is over here. But usually when you create a mirror repeater, the object that you're selecting will be parented underneath the mirror repeater. So just detach that like this. And now we have a mirror repeater at a good spot. Although actually, wait, So I'll have one for the ears like this. I'll position it here, and I'm gonna make another one for the body, for the arms, and for the legs. So I'm going to clone this one. I'm just like cloning everything. Oh, I can just add a new one. So I'm going to make a new quad sphere, and I'm going to parent it under the mirror repeater. Bring it up and move it to the right. Now we have two pieces. Also, to anyone watching the stream, happy Valentine's Day. And when I first saw this episode of, I think this was this like last week? I was like, oh my god, I need to make that. Because I love spicy food. I'm so happy that Chiikawa is making, making episodes on eating spicy food. Like, like what kind of cute shows like cute things eating spicy food? Oh my god, so amazing. So I'm gonna make the ears, and at this time, like, I'm not worried about the overall shape yet. And then I will just clone this and parent it to the other mirror repeater, this one, the one for the legs and the arms. And if you notice, I've been moving things up and down using one arrow direction, just so that I don't mess, like, I'm not moving things laterally. Is this laterally? No, like back and forth. So everything is still symmetrical from the side view. Actually, starting this live stream, I wasn't sure whether or not I want to do some sort of like tutorial-ish thing, but I guess it's happening. Roughly around this size. And at this point, like, sometimes sometimes the legs and the hands are quite similar. So because of that, I want to instance the legs. So I'll go ahead and instance this one. And I'm going to bring it out, bring it to the right, and rotate this like that. And because they are limbs, I want, if I go to solo view mode, which is this button right here, if I go to solo view mode, I want the limbs to kind of like pivot on the ends of the object. So I'm going to go to the pivot edit mode and move this up. And I'm just moving it with the green arrow. so that it's still in the middle of the object from the other angles. Then this way we can keep everything pretty neat. So I think this is kind of, the base is kind of done. Then we can start doing, maybe start doing the face first. I think we can start doing the face first actually. Do we? So based on a lot of experience of sculpting different things, I like to keep mirror repeaters separate. So what I mean by that is that sometimes I'll work with like one mirror repeater for every single thing, and I always find myself finding myself like in situations where I will need to duplicate the mirror repeater again to separate different body parts. So now whenever I do like mirror repeaters, I just do it all separately from the start. So I'm going to make one more. I'm going to clone this mirror repeater again. And I can be confident in knowing that they are at the right positions and stuff because I've only been moving them up and down like this. So I'm going to move this down to the head level, I think. Somewhere here. And with this, I'm going to create another sphere. So maybe create a quad sphere, and then I'll bring it forward. I think it's especially important to move things one axis at a time, especially when you find it very difficult to move things around. And even if I am pretty confident in my sculpting skills, like I still like just move things around like this, because then I know for sure that I'm not introducing a lot of weird rotations or like weird placements. So I can do this. I'll put it here and I'll squeeze it. So I'll squeeze using the blue circle here. I'll squeeze it like this. And I think I'll do it pretty flat. Like this, but not too flat. It doesn't have to be too flat. And then I'll bring it in. And rotate this. Oops. Bring it out again. And make sure that I'm only rotating on the green axis for now. Because that's good enough for now. Because I haven't adjusted. I haven't adjusted the final proportions of the head and all that. I'm just trying to build everything up. So at this point, you can try to, let me see. You can probably just eye drop. So I brought in an image of here. Let me see. Oh wait, no, we cannot. We can't eye drop that. Okay. So let's just eyeball. Let me see. I'll just eyeball the color. Just eyeballing the color. Maybe it's somewhere a little bit more to a yellow. Something like this looks good, I think. And I am keeping it 100% roughness. Just paint this, paint this, paint this too. And for this one, I can get my other Chiikawa color. Where are my Chiikawas? Chiikawa Let me grab this. It's a little bit difficult. It's a little bit difficult to work like in large distances. I haven't worked in the I haven't done something like this in a while. So I'll paint this like this. And everything looks quite scary now. In time it will look cute. In time. So now I want to create the other shapes for the eyes. When I'm working with multiple objects, I'm usually quite picky with how deep it goes. So how do I explain this? I think in the past, sometimes I would do different objects. Let me just show you the example where sometimes I would adjust the size by pushing things in like this, and I'd be like, oh, it looks pretty good, it's a good size. It's a good size. But then doing something like this, it becomes very difficult to, how to say, it's not necessarily very difficult to adjust the overall shapes and stuff. But let's say if I want to sculpt this, let's say I want to sculpt this, then suddenly every maybe I just make it a bit bigger to exaggerate the problem. So sometimes I'll be sculpting like this, and then I'll use the drag tool and shape the face, and then I'll be like, oh no, this thing is so big. And then if the shape of the head is very different like this, then it's just very difficult to adjust the size of this. So now whenever I do multiple objects for different parts, I make sure that the size of the objects are accurate. Something like this. And I'm not going to push it in that far yet because I don't really know what shape, I don't really know what I want to do with the shape yet. I'm just building up the base of the sculpt. So I'm just keeping the edge of the object a little bit outwards. Then that way I know for sure this is the size of the eye and this is the shape of Usagi's eye. Then I'm going to clone this and bring it out. It's time to paint the whites. I mean, create the whites, which I can just scale down, bring it up, and push it back. And because we are working with a quad sphere, let me just go to because we are working with a quad sphere, the edge of the eye, which color can I use? The edge of the eye is like this. Is it showing up on the screen? Is this better? I don't know which color is better. So when I push in this object here to the edge of the sphere, you can see that there's a tiny gap. There's a tiny gap here. So we want to try and match the angle of this eyeball. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm rotating this a little bit, and then I just push this in like that. I can also just squeeze it a little bit more just so that it appears flatter. And then I'm going to leave the proportions for now. Now I can go to, now I can work on the lower bit. And previously with the Chiikawa, let me see, I keep forgetting which one it is. So previously with my first sculpt of Hachiware and Chiikawa, the mouth parts and the eyebrows are like sculpted geometry, and I realized that I don't really need to use sculpted geometry for this. I can use the tube tool, because with the sculpted geometry I can't really adjust the shapes as well. Like, let's say if I want to create an expression like this, then I'll need to sculpt the eyebrows out. And that's when I realized that I should have just used tube tool instead, and everything is so difficult too. Where oh my god. So I will select my eyeball and I will add a tube. Like this. It looks crazy big. So let's bring it down. Wait. Using this orange handle at one side, you're going to bring it down to a reasonable size. And then using this bottom point here, you're going to bring this up here. And you're going to bring this to the right. With Tubes tool, with something as simple as this, it doesn't really matter which end is on the left or the right. But when it becomes more complex, then you have to think about where do you want to put the spline point with this radius controls. So this first spline point will have all these controls and also the gizmo control. I think, wait. No, it doesn't. Okay, you know what, let's scrap this. Okay, so I'm going to redo this. I don't want this tube because the gizmo control is like at some weird place. So let's delete that. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to click this tube and I'm going to draw like that. So with this method, when I go to the gizmo tool is at the first point of the spline, which is really good. So for something small like this where there are only a few points, I like to use the B-spline curve. I'll click on that because the B-spline curve will create a smoother, like a softer gradient between the spline points. Then I'll scale this down. And when we look at the eye, we want these kind of like rounded and like sharp points. We are going to do the same thing, like using a tube tool to create the eyebrows and the mouth. And you can see that there are these like rounded edges on the side. So that's what we're going to do. So under the tube tool menu, I think by default it's supposed to be on top, but then I like mine at the bottom. Then I'll click on this 3 dots menu. So I'll click on that, and then I'm trying to remember what the settings. I think it's like this. Wait. So I bring up post subdivision to 1, and then I bring, wait, was it? Ah, yes. So to create a rounded edge, I can reduce the division x to 4 and bring the post subdivision to 2. So division x4 just means that you have 4 edges, I think. And then when you bring up the post subdivision for this, it creates this nice rounded edge. And we can use this tiny sausage to create the bottom of the eye, like that. So just remember, like, don't bring this up, because when you bring this up higher, it will create like it'll flatten the edges. I think this one too. So to bring up the resolution, if you need to, just bring the post subdivision higher up, like that. But I think setting it to 3 is good enough. And we can put in maybe like 1, 2, 3, 4 points, like this. So back to the point where I was talking about being mindful of where the first point of the spline is, because this is where the gizmo, wait, is it, wait, does it not move? Wait, give me a sec. Oh my god, is this like oh my god, wait, seriously? The gizmo's not following. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let me look at this. Okay, so the tubes tool, the gizmo is there. If I move this now, oh my god, something changed in the new update. No. Oh my god, I just wrote a tutorial on, like, oh my god. I have like a tutorial script in progress, and like the gizmo tool following the gizmo, what's that thing called? The gizmo. The gizmo following this point is like essential in my tutorial. And I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I'm not really sure whether or not this is like a, is it just me, or is it I think we should let's just move on. Like, it doesn't really matter, I guess. I feel so sad right now. It's not it's supposed to. So previously, at least when I last used tubes tool, it used to be that the first point, spline point, and you can determine like which one is the first point by seeing where the first radius anchor is. So it used to be that when you move these around, the gizmo is supposed to follow that point, including the rotation of the gizmo. So I'm not really sure like what's going on. Like, I don't think I set anything. I don't recall setting anything, because I don't even like to like adjust things. But if it is something that is part of the new update. I guess I just have to keep that in mind. But I guess the good thing is that we drew the tube over here, and so yeah, the gizmo is at an okay spot. So we'll just leave it like this for now. Then the next thing they want to do is to create that tapered shape. And so that's what we have 4 points for, so that we can keep the center part relatively bigger and the ends, maybe I just create 5, like just for the sake of symmetry. So I'm going to click on this radius. What this does, it will bring up, with one click, it will bring up 2 radius points. So the first one is still there, and the second one appears at the other end. With this, you can control the different radius of the different sizes, and then we can use that click to create more radius points like this. And I hope this works. It works, yes. And I'm just going to use this to create that tapered eye look. And I think right now it's a little bit too, it feels a little bit too like fat. So I'm going to go to the profile of the tube, and I will change this to a circle like this, and then I'll flatten the circle by squeezing the shape like this. I think something like this is fine. Just be mindful that once you have activated all the radius points, that any adjustments to the other points will change the shape of it. So try not to, maybe I'll just stick to 4. So try not to have too many points, or else like it becomes really difficult to control the whole shape. I try to do as little points as possible, like this. So that's the eye done. Everything still looks really weird, but when we build everything up, then we can start doing things properly. So we have the eye. Let's do the mouth. So something pretty neat is that if you select the tube for, where is it? If you select an existing tube, we can copy this setting that we just made for this tube onto a new tube that is being drawn. So I'm going to select this tube, and while I'm in Tubes tool mode, I'll go to the left side and click on the curve. So this allows me to draw again. So I'm going to draw like this. I like to draw shorter ones because like actually it's not too bad. But you just draw however long you want. And I'm going to eyedrop this thing. Click on this paint button here, and I'm going to paint all. I hope that the screen is sharp enough. Now I'm going to make some cute eyebrows. I think for the eyebrows are probably I'm just wondering whether or not I do want it to be a little bit bigger. Maybe I'll just make it a little bit higher just so that it forms a nice shape. Maybe I'll add a new point. I'm not sure. Maybe not. Let me just keep it simple for now. Maybe add a point in the snow. Just be mindful that this is not the final. Oh my god, the proportions are so off. If you click on the point, it will sharpen the edge. So I'll click on it again because I accidentally cornered the spline point. I think what else do we need? We need the mouth. Let's make the mouth. Am I doing this the wrong way? Like maybe I should be adjusting the head size first. You know what, maybe I'm doing this the wrong way. Let's hide this first. I think I'll adjust the shape of the head now. Yeah, I think I'll adjust the shape of the... Let's follow these set of drawings. I'm going to use dynamic topology because that's how I normally sculpt. So you can go to this this tab at the top left, the third one, and before we can convert it to dynamic topology, we have to validate this. So let's go ahead and validate this. You can just stick with this mode and just like work on this. Actually, maybe I can just, you know what, maybe just ditch that. I think I'll work on this and just subdivide it. You know what, maybe that's not bad. So I'll just validate this and subdivide so that it's not too like blocky. This one is smaller, so we can stick with the subdivision. So we can validate this. And I have the subdivision buttons over here. You can also find it in the multi-res tab. This is where the subdivisions exist. Like that. Then I will validate this too. And because these are all instances, when I do this, it will affect the other pieces too. I'm noticing that the way that I adjust my subdivision levels is when I find it quite difficult to sculpt. So when we look at the wireframe, there's quite a lot of faces for this. And I feel like too many faces sometimes makes it very difficult to sculpt the shape properly. So I'll just bring this down. I will bring it down. Like that. Or I can even bring it down further for now. So that when I work on this, the shapes, the edges are smoother like this. And then I can always bring it back up. And we have a very nice smooth curve. Here's something that I forgot to do. So let me just undo everything because why did I do this? Is something that I forgot to do is to let's validate all of this again. I think I don't need to validate these. I don't need to sculpt the eyes, so I don't need to validate the spears. But if you want to, you can validate it. It doesn't really make a difference. Let's hide these. I hope Usagi turns out well. I'm a bit scared. So before I start sculpting on this, I will activate a few symmetry planes. So we have the default X planes activated, and I will, let me see, activate all the other planes too, because when we do this, when we sculpt the different sides, it will be reflected on the other symmetry planes like that. And this is a lot. The reason why I was undoing like what I did was because I did a little bit of a sculpting movement like this with the symmetry plane only on the X plane. So if you notice, if I push this and I exaggerate this a little bit, the symmetry plane, the symmetry of his head is, or her head, I'm not really sure, is like outwards like this. And then the back side is not adjusted. And if I do this, then the whole shape of the head can very easily be like unrounded. Like it will become, like I will need to go to the front view and adjust this, and then go to the side view to adjust the back side and the front side. So instead of doing each side one by one, we can use the symmetry plane to adjust everything at one go like that. So with the drag tool, I like to use the drag tool. You can use the, I haven't been using the move tool in a while, so it's down here. You can use the move tool, and I will just adjust the shapes a little bit. Let's close this up. So we want to make initially the shape is more like a spear like this. So if you want to make, like, I'm going to exaggerate the drawing a bit, you want to make something a little bit more boxy like this. Something like this. Let's subdivide this again. Then for the body is a little bit too big. Actually, it's not too big. But I guess it's too long. Then the same thing, I want the symmetry planes. And I'm going to flatten. They're starting to look cute. Then make sure that from when we are looking from the top view to the bottom view, that the shape of the sculpt is not too square like that. If it is, then just push it in the corner like this and smooth it out. So this one's a little bit too flat. I want to round it out a little bit like this. It's a little bit too narrow now, I think. Or is it too short? I mean too long. It's so hard to tell at the beginning stages. I think something that a lot of people wouldn't realize is like how difficult it is to draw cute stuff, like with the correct proportions. Because like let's say if I just move the eyes a little bit like this, suddenly Usagi's gonna look so different. Just because like the placement of the white part of the eyes and all that is also incorrect. Just speaking of moving the eyes, since we have the base of the eyes roughly done, maybe I'll squeeze this a little bit more to make it a little bit more oval. And let's move this a little bit more. I'm looking at this eye. Since I'm pretty happy with the side view and the front view and the bottom, maybe I need to rotate this a bit. So I'm happy with the overall look of the eye. Let's rotate this a bit too. I can go ahead and parent this to the base of the eye and parent this to the base. Then this way when I'm moving the eyes, I'm moving all of them together like this. So let's adjust the shape. I think probably the eyes are too big, so maybe I can scale them down. And let's bring up the maybe let's make the arms a little bit better first. So same thing with the arms. I want to use the symmetry plane, and for this make sure that it's set to local symmetry because we already moved this off the world center, so local symmetry. And I'll probably use the z-axis. Actually, do I want symmetry planes? So I'll use the x and the z-axis to round this out a little bit. Wait, let me and I'll use the lower subdivision to work with this. It's just a lot easier to work with lower subdivision levels. Something like this. We can bring it back up. Sure, I don't need the higher one, so I'm going to delete the higher one. This is good enough. And I'm going to smooth out any bumps. Why do you look so weird? So I'm going to smooth out the center part so that it becomes a straighter line. So it becomes more like that instead of like this. And because there are instances wherever I sculpt on this one, hello Tano Warno, hello. And because these are instances of each other, wherever I sculpt on this, any changes on this will affect this one too. But before I adjust this further, let's make sure that the legs are at the correct spot. So maybe somewhere like this, so that when we move, oh my god, so cute. So that we move like this, we can pivot them at the correct area. Then now I can go ahead and shorten this a little bit more. I think that looks cute. Remember to smooth out any weird parts. Any parts that looks like lumpy. And I think that let's move this a little bit more forward. And I think that is a pretty good base. So you can go ahead and actually this one is still a bit, feels a little bit too high, is it? So I think at this point I probably don't want, I think the top side, if I exaggerate the form, I think the top side is more like this and the bottom side is more like this. So I'll deactivate the Y symmetry too for this. Then that way I can create the nice shape along this. Something that you can do is to bring in, I forgot to, you can bring in like images from, oh, I forgot to put it here. You can open the reference image and then bring in the image like this and use it as the reference. Maybe if I bring in, so something like this, and then you can adjust the overlay and all that stuff, and you can use it to sculpt. You can use it to sculpt your Usagi with it, but I normally don't really, I usually don't use reference images. So I'm just eyeballing all these proportions and adjusting things as I go. But that's a good way to make sure that your proportions and all that are good by having the reference image just right beside you. And hello mushroom branch spores. Oh, I'm not really sure like how many Nomad Sculpt content is out there, but I guess based on what you're saying, that is not a lot. Man, that's really sad. I'm glad to contribute to this small community. And I really like Nomad Sculpt. So I'm just sharing like what I do every day, which is really fun. Let's see. I think this is almost good. So something that we can do is to merge these two together, and I'll just show you how to do it. I'm not going to do it because my other characters are not merged. Hello DXD. Wish I could know and sculpt like this. Yeah, it takes a lot of, yeah, I'm just glad that my younger self spent like so much time working in Maya and like doing a lot of 3D things in the past, because without that foundation, like it will be very difficult for me to move things around. But like that said, like if I had Nomad Sculpt when I started out doing 3D, I would just be playing around Nomad Sculpt anyway, and I'll probably like learn how to get better with Nomad Sculpt, which I feel like is more fun than learning how to become better in 3D with Maya. Yeah, I always say in my channel that like I'm not sure whether I'm like incorrect in saying this, but I feel like so many girls in my class, or like even my cohort, or even like my juniors or maybe my seniors, don't like doing 3D. And I feel like it's because the interface is just not really that nice. And I think like if Nomad Sculpt existed back then, like I think so many girls would really like to do 3D stuff because like, you can do so many cute things. Like I'm like doing, yeah. Let me not sidetrack. So let me show you how to merge your mesh so that you can create this continuous thing. I'm going to select the two of this and then make sure that, oh, before anything, make sure that you save your work. And I have a button map to save, so I'm always saving like every second or so. And going back to this menu, I'll go to the voxel menu and remesh it. So I'm going to click it, multi-res will be lost, like that's fine. For me at least, I think that's fine. And this is like how I normally sculpt. I will enable dynamic topology and then I'll smooth this out. Look at this smooth thing. It's like a mushroom. Oh my god, so cute. And honestly, yeah, I think ZBrush, like, I guess the funny thing is that I did have a little bit of experience with ZBrush. I was lucky enough to have a teacher who was good at ZBrush, who was willing to give us, like, man, I don't know how like art teachers have so much energy. Like, I feel like all art teachers need to have like bonuses and like lots of money and all this stuff. But anyway, he like took out some of his free time to teach us how to use ZBrush, which was like really nice. But then the sad thing is that I feel like I didn't really get into sculpting back then because, yeah, ZBrush interface. But yeah, and when, I mean, the other thing will also be the subscription. But then when Nomad Sculpt came out, and then my boyfriend got a Nomad Sculpt app, and then I, like, for a few years I didn't really do any sculpting. I was drawing a lot back then, so I was just like doing lots of drawing, like a lot of brush pen drawings and all this stuff. And I don't remember like what made me feel like, oh, you know what, I want to try and pick up sculpting. And I was like, we already have Nomad Sculpt on the iPad, so why not just use that? Because he paid for it already, and the rest was history. Like, it just feels very nice for someone like me, who like, I feel very like anxious like having a subscription and then like I never use it, like the software. So having something that I already own, and then like I have kind of like the freedom to just pick it up anytime that I want. And I don't have the stress of like, oh my god, like I need to use the app because like I'm paying it monthly. And I think that really played a big part in, yeah, it's very weird because like so many people, they became sculptors because of ZBrush, but it never happened for me. And yeah, a big part of getting into sculpting was thanks to Nomad Sculpt. So we can do something like this, but I'm not going to do this because why am I not doing this? I don't know. Wait a minute. Drag. Okay. So I'm gonna undo that, but I just showed you a way of how you can seamlessly merge Usagi's body together like that. Yes. It's so weird, like how for me, like just my experience, like my journey as an artist, having that, like not having that burden just allowed me to progress. it's kind of weird because I feel like I'm like, oh my god, I'm not going to make it as an artist because like look at all these other artists who are like paying subscriptions and stuff, and then they're doing so like really good works and all this stuff. And I never got into that, but then I think it's like 2026 now, and I'm just like, you do whatever that allows you to do the best that you can ever do, and that's really what matters.